Well, hello there, and this is Auntie, and I am here to do my review on The Family Chantel, Season 3, Episode 11, My Other Family. Are y'all ready to get into this? All right, let's get started.
Everybody needs a sweet old auntie. Everybody needs
with a whoop whoop and a boop boop
auntie
boop.
that
You can make this up.
Now you know that these are some crazy motherfuckers.
everybody needs a sweet old auntie.
So why even bother?
Aunties and lives, sweet old auntie. Aunties and ways. Are you okay? Are you okay?
Well, hi everybody, and welcome back. And this is Auntie. If this is your first time being here, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And to all of my new subscribers, thank you all so much for joining the family. To all of my nieces and nephews, and my members who have been here with me for the long haul, thank you all so much for your continued support. If I had to rate last night's episode of The Family Chantel, Season 3, Episode 11, My Other Family, I will rate the episode a B. Let me know down in the comment section what you would rate last night's episode. I thought a lot of interesting things came out of the episode, and um, it gets a B simply for the fact that Pedro was able to connect with his brothers, and the reunion was sweet. I know. Everybody was amicable, excited about meeting one another, and so for that reason alone, I'm giving this episode a B rating. If Nicole had come to the meeting, I would have given it an A. There's nothing like family. There's nothing like reunification. And these brothers met one another sight unseen, not knowing a lot about one another. And they absolutely um, were very kind, respectful, transparent. And so I thought that it deserved a B. Again, let me know down in the comments section what you would rate this episode. So we opened up the episode basically, with the mother and them at the beach. Like, I'm not interested in that. I think that um, Winter should have her own segment on where she's healing and talking about her healing and everything. And so I'm not really interested in what her and her mother are doing at the beach. Neither am I interested in the conversation that Chantel is having with them as it relates to trying to be supportive to her husband, because every time she's given the opportunity to be supportive to him, she's not. She fails at it every time. And that absolutely bothers me, that she's not as sensitive as she should be, and really watching her mouth as it relates to Pedro's mother. Pedro is, trying to find out who he is, right? He's in a place, an unknown place, and he really does need the support of his wife, especially since he is being rejected by both his mother and his sister. And so we go to, Pedro sitting at the cafe, or the restaurant, if you will, waiting on his brothers to come in. He's extremely nervous, and excited all at the same time. And then we see Pedro's brothers come into the room, Pedro Jr., and Jonathan, and they stand up, and these are men, and they stand up. They could have been bulls and all of that kind of stuff, and they weren't. And so they come into the room and they greet one another, with the handshake, and they sit down and they all articulate that they are nervous about it, but they're excited about seeing one another. And so, of course, the brothers are sizing each other up as men. Pedro indicated that his brothers were white looking, very white, and that he is brown. And I thought that that was just, it just was a different contrast in seeing the brothers, except for Junior looks just like Nicole. Pedro mentioned during the reunion that, if you put a wig on him, that he looks like Nicole. And I picked it up instantly. I don't know if you all picked it up, but I picked it up instantly that he looked, like just like Nicole. The brothers were, asked about Nicole and where she was, and Pedro indicated that his sister was fine the way that she was, and she was not willing to, meet them because she just wants to stay where she is. And you know what? You can't do anything but respect that. Each person has the ability to make their own decisions as it relates to their own life and their life choices. And so we have to respect the fact that Nicole did not want to comment, that she doesn't want to be, um, you know, um, involved in this situation. And so, anyway, so Pedro and his brother both have the same name. And so, Pedro, they were like, well, what do we call you? And he was like, at this point, so we don't get confused, just call me Jose, which is their middle name. The both of them are named after their father. And so, they begin to have a conversation. Pedro began to tell them about, his life as a child. And he said that he didn't want to be disrespectful or anything like that, but he just wanted to talk about his relationship as it related to his mother and his father and what he knew about him. And so the brothers were, really listening to him. And they both, all three of them, had agreed that this has been a conversation that hasn't taken place amongst the family. It's been that little dirty secret, on Pedro's side, and it's been a dirty secret on their side as well. And so, Pedro is, talking about, basically the difficulty with trying to get the information out of his mother and everything. And so, he's seeking this opportunity to connect with his brothers, because, the cousin in New York is the one that hooked all of this up for them. And so the brothers begin to talk about their father and being raised with him, and saying that he is an exemplary person, and that he was a fantastic father. And so, Pedro is just like, or just riding on every word, every syllable that came out of their mouth. Like he was just drawn in. I'm sure, because Pedro was saying that, he had a hard life, and they were saying they had a good one. And but they understood, Jonathan, in particular, mentioned, how he knows that Pedro has to be hurt because, as a man, you want to know your father. And so, he really understands, where Pedro is in this situation. And Pedro even went on to talk about his grandmother, and asking her the questions about, the father, and just sharing that information that he's recently found out since he's been on this trip, because Pedro's mother has been uncooperative. She has not been willing to talk about this relationship. She's been downplaying it. She's been making fun of Pedro, um, you know, because he even wants to just try to find his father and his brother. The mother has been really downplaying this situation and trying to, I think, discourage him by saying mean and cruel and ugly stuff to him, right? And it's just been extremely sad to kind of watch this situation go on, because you have to understand that while this is a show, at the end of the day, this is his real life. And so, you gotta, you have to handle it with kid gloves, right? I can't come out here and, be making fun and making light of it and everything, because this is like serious. And I'm sure that there are other people who can relate to what Pedro is going through. I mean, this is just something else. But anyway, so Pedro, um, says that he wants to find out more about his father and all that kind of stuff. And so he asked them, did they know that he existed? Did they know that the two of them existed? And so the brother tells him that, one day his father had told him to go through and clean up his paperwork. And so he said he went into the office to clean up the paperwork. And while in it, he saw a ripped up letter. And he said, in this letter, he was like, well, if it's ripped up and it's here, there's got to be something that's going on with it. And he became very interested in the contents of the letter. And so he taped the letter together. And in the letter, he assumed that this letter was from Pedro's mother, and it was her last plea to the father to, to have like a relationship um with his children. And so he said that he took the letter to his mother, and his mother, I guess told him about Pedro and Chantel. And it I just, and Pedro's mouth was like, because when he had a conversation with his mother about the situation, the mother had indicated that she didn't care and all of that kind of stuff. She walked away from the relationship, decided to have another kid. Like, she has not been giving him like all the true pieces to the puzzle. But for Pedro, this gave him a sense of, okay, I've got to go back to my mother and I need to apologize, because my mother did try to make an effort for us to have a relationship with our father. And I'm afraid, Pedro, I don't agree with that. I don't know whether or not you like I got confused by the letter. I don't know if you all did or not, but I was very confused by the letter, because I'm going to talk about that later on. But I'm thinking that the letter may have been another woman. I'm not thinking that it is Pedro's mother. There's certain things that lead me to believe that. Because when Pedro went back and had a conversation with his mother, she said she never wrote a letter to him. She said once she was through with the relationship, she was through with the what is that? She was through with the relationship. And so I'm really confused about, is she not telling the truth? I do believe that there is something that she's protecting, and that is why she has been so mean to him and dismissive and condescending and just plain old nasty and rude. Rude, rude, rude. Um, I think she is hiding something or protecting herself. And it's just sad, because it's like, Pedro and Chantel. Well, let me say Pedro. Pedro is very courageous to let us into his life like this. Like, this is courageous for him to do, because people don't normally let you into their little dirty secrets. And Pedro, in his, I think this is a great storyline. Let me just say that. Um, because we're finding out things about this relationship that's like on a wow factor for me. Um, it's so confusing. There's so many real life turns and twists that are intertwined in this story till I'm just like, okay, who's telling the truth? Who's lying? Um, Pedro asked the brother how long ago was it that he found it. He said 10 years ago. Um, he found the letter in the father's office, and I'm thinking, well, why would the father tear the letter up and not dispose of it? Why would he tear it up and leave the pieces there to be found? It's so confusing to me, but it's intriguing all at the same time. I just was like, what in the hell is going on? So, Pedro still is left with a lot of questions. And his brothers tell them, if you want to, we'll give you dad's phone number and reach out to him, yourself so that you can find out whatever it is that you want to know about your father. The other brother wasn't so ready to do that. He felt like the father needed to have, a little bit more time. But Jonathan decides to give Pedro the phone number and have Pedro to, reach out to his dad whenever he's ready to do this. But the brothers said that they wanted to stay connected. They both appreciated the fact that they were that he had reached out to them and gave them an opportunity to get to know them. They're still hopeful that they can have a relationship with Nicole, because both of the brothers was like, we don't have a sister. And so they were really excited about having a sister. And at the end of the day, this is probably something that Nicole needs, to have this relationship with the brothers. But you can't force yourself or force somebody else to do something that they are absolutely not willing to do. And I like the fact that all of them were, just hospitable to one another and really curious about each other to the point where they still want to stay connected. Thank you so much, Beverly Conley, for the 1999 super chat. My heart goes out to Pedro. Mama is evil. Absolutely, she's evil. But I mean, I think that she's evil to the extent that she's trying to protect herself. Her guard is up. You can tell that there's a lot of hurt. And I think that she just doesn't want to talk about it and doesn't want to tap into it, right? Because Pedro is being courageous. She's not ready to have that same courage, I think, to deal with this situation. There is absolutely something that she's trying to hide and protect Pedro from, and instead she's hurting him. We see Pedro, excuse me, y'all. We see Pedro go and have a conversation with Nicole about what was happening, but Nicole is at a place where she's not willing to not judge his mother. And she wants the mother to pay for what she's done. She feels like Pedro has been too light on his mother, because Pedro came back and said, I need to apologize to my mother because she did actually try to have a relationship, try to forge a relationship with us, between us and our dad. And Chantel wasn't having it. She is like, your Pedro, when she made a comment, Pedro said, "You're not being empathetic." And she said, "I think that your mother wasn't being empathetic because she, had a relationship with a married man and blah 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 blah." Chantel, at this point, that's already been said. Um, and at this point, he just needs a loving arm and a listening ear. And I know that she is still young and immature, and it's probably a heated conversation. There probably was more things that was said that we did not, we were not privy to. But at this point, it was no need for her to, go on with this relationship. It's amazing because when Pedro was talking about his father, he mentioned that, the grandmother had told him that the father saw her one day walking home from school and he thought that she was beautiful. And then I believe that Pedro said that 10 years later he came back to collect her. And I was like, what in the whole hell? um like he had to have watched her for years in order to come back and pursue her. and get her pregnant twice. And so anyway, Pedro, decides once he's talking to Chantel, he dismisses her and tells her she can't be supportive to him, that she needs to go back with with the mother. And so this gives him an opportunity to have some alone time. And so he gets down in like this little cove and he calls his father. And of course, the father does not pick up the phone. Now, Pedro has to see whether or not the glass is half full or if the glass is half empty. Because on one hand, he's like, maybe he's ignoring me. But on the other hand, he's like, well, maybe he's seeing this US number and wondering who the hell it is. I don't think that Pedro gave enough time between seeing his brothers and getting the phone number for the brothers to get back and let the father know that, hey, some things is going down, whatever, right? And so it was this is deep. This is a deep storyline here. So the next thing we know, Pedro is at the home and he is basically confronting his mother. He's wanting to be apologetic and sympathetic about the situation and tell his mother that he is sorry for prejudging her and misunderstanding the information. And the mother is totally disconnected and shut down. And so Pedro asked her, were you in love with him? And she does not want to admit that she was in love with this man. I don't understand it. I'm not getting it to the extent where she just told Pedro, no, no, then I wasn't in love with him. No. Pedro asked, is Nicole and I, so that means that we were mistakes. Were we mistakes? And she said yes. And I don't believe that that's true because when she had a conversation with him in the car, she basically said, I went back purposely and had Nicole with him because I wanted to have another child and I didn't want y'all to have different dads. So I, on purpose, went back and had a relationship with your father again so that I could birth Nicole, get pregnant with Nicole. So we know that this does not connect. And of course, Pedro is so caught up, like he probably doesn't even pick up the fact that his mother has just told him a lie. Pedro is distraught. He's devastated. He goes outside. He is cussing, kicking tires and some more stuff because this has gotten crazy to him because he cannot break through and to his mom. He he can't do it. Thank you so much, Nisi G, for the $5 super chat. Wrong for Lydia to call them mistakes. I think that Senor Pedro has more than one outside family. Pedro 3, Pedro 4, Pedro 5, etc. I'm kind of thinking that the father has another family as well. But then again, you don't really know because there's so many twists and turns to this. Was she the one that really put that letter out there, sent that letter and, is just lying about it? Thank you so much, Nisi G, for the super chat. It's like, it's unbelievable to me. It's just, it's so heavy. It's a heavy story. It's a heavy situation. And oh God, this is just a heavy story because to see the emotional, the raw emotion from Pedro, and I mean, I know that the cameraman wanted to capture it raw, but it's like some could he not have had any privacy to deal with this? This is heavy, heavy. And I think it's bad because we know that mothers are nurturing and we don't see a nurturing side to Lydia at all. It's just, it's just something else, y'all. But anyway, The next person I want to talk about is Puddle and Megan. Puddle is in the studio and he is doing a recording. And he's talking about Tennessee whiskey and Tennessee ranches and Tennessee heat and Tennessee food and all that kind of stuff. And it's just like, okay, he is totally enamored with this woman. Thank you so much, folks. That's for the $4.99 super chat. Loving the black butterfly on the tree. You are like the butterfly spreading joy and beauty. Oh, thank you. Thank you. You can see the butterfly. Yep, the butterfly is right here. And then I have a beautiful, I don't know what kind of hell bird this is, but this is a bird that's on the tree as well. My daughter is into butterflies and birds. And so every tree that I have in the house, I have butterflies and birds on them. I'm going to be revealing my other tree Christmas Eve. And hopefully I'll be able to bring you all a nice little Christmas treat here on YouTube. But yes, thank you so much. They're all over the tree in different spots and stuff like that. And I love it. Thank you. Um, but so he's excited about this song and everything. He's inviting Megan up to hear the song. And so Megan comes into the studio, and you can tell by her energy that she is absolutely ready to break up with Puddle. And so she Puddle starts talking about that he had a conversation with her and said that the two of them needed to show up in this relationship. And she got offended by him saying that because she felt like her life was too busy to show up and that she was giving to him all that she could give to him in and out of this relationship. And for him, it wasn't enough. He felt like, that the two of them needed to meet in the middle and that she needed to show, that she was really into him. But Megan isn't into him. Megan was into his mother and his sister. From the moment that Megan met Chantel and Miss Karen, Lady Karen, um, so the mother was, so the mother and Chantel, when they met Megan, they were not impressed. They saw Megan the same way I think a lot of us saw it. This just some little chick that's trying to get on. This is some chick who's trying to get her name out there in the streets. This is some chick who's using their son to try to get what she can get out of their son. She wants clicks, views on Instagram. They saw her the same exact way that we saw her, and they didn't give her the life liberty, and they didn't give her the work. They did not fuss with her. They didn't yell with her. They came in, they dropped out. They were not impressed with Megan at all. And then when Megan found out that they didn't know about her son, she didn't, this was her escape route. But you know what? With him knowing his mother and his sister the way that he didn't need to mention it. And then when they said something to her about her son and making sure that he wasn't, around the son and all of that kind of stuff, she rejected that and said, I'll do what the hell I want to do with my son. So she wasn't even open to any advice, no sound advice from them or whatever. So they dismissed her ass. And as a result, she dismissed Winter. Puddle. River. The way that Puddle handled this situation, I was like, now that's a River, because he handled her ass. Yes, he's devastated. Yes, he's hurt. But like he told her, there was nothing that I said that was incorrect. You need to show up in this relationship. And she was like, I'm doing everything that I can do. I'm sitting here in a relationship, sitting here with you, and I could be with my son. Well, bitch, be with your son. You showed up for all. Y'all hear my stomach rumbling? You be with your son if that's what you want to do. The fuck are you there for? Bitch, you drove 4 hours to be there to just break up with him. And she was like, oh, I noticed all of his songs are about me. Yeah, because he's in love with you, or at least he thinks he is. And then this is the way that you treat him. This is the way that you honor him. You sitting around listening to all your girlfriends and all of that kind of stuff. And your girlfriends ain't giving you no advice because you needed to have you should have had a conversation with him and said, hey, I noticed that your mother and your sister didn't know about my son. Can you tell me why they didn't? Let the mofo give an opportunity, give him an opportunity, right, to clear the record, to tell you why he made the decision that he made. Thank you so much, David Chambers, for the $5 super chat. Finally catch another live, Auntie. Merry Christmas. You are the gift that keeps on giving. Thanks for all the laughter daily, Puddle. Thank you, sweetie. Okay, so you showing up for Puddle, huh? Thank you, beloved. And I'm just like, this girl is just was cloud chasing, in my opinion. I have not seen her really even be affectionate towards the man. He comes down to visit her and she got her friends in the house to interrogate him and all of that kind of stuff. Yet you say that you got feelings for him and all of that kind of stuff. Bitch, you ain't never have no cotton freaking feelings for that. Hey, it's Simone. Thank you so much for the $4.99 super chat. Just wanted to show you love, Auntie. Happy holidays. Thank you so much. Hey, it's Simone. Thank you so much, boo. Thank you. I just saw her as a clout chasing type of chick. And let me tell you something, River. You are so much more um blessed without having her in your life. You don't need a woman like this. You don't. You don't need a woman like this, and you don't need the baggage. You're a young man. Now, there ain't nothing wrong with being with a single mother. I'm a single mother, and I've dated men with no children, right? But I think for you and at your maturity level and what you want to do with your life, I don't think that that's going to be the best fit for you. I don't think that you have the maturity nor the instinct to be a bonus dad. Now, that's not to say that maybe another 10 years from now, you may be equipped for that. But the way that your parents have brought you up, River, you're not equipped to be a bonus dad for anybody. You just go ahead on to be a loving boyfriend and you pick the right women because this woman right here, all she was doing was clout chasing with you, trying to get her moment in the sun. And when she didn't, her ass was embarrassed. Point blank and to the period. She knew that edit wasn't a good edit. She knew that they didn't care. She knew that they blew her ass off. And so, of course, she got a little upset about it and all that kind of stuff. Let her go. And don't think about it anymore. You too young to even be in a relationship. Get your career started. Do what the fuck you gonna do with your career. And that's it. That's it. And that's damn it all. Okay. Okay. But anyway, y'all, this is the end of my review. This was a hard review to do because it is so emotional on so many levels, right? Let me know what you thought about this situation. Tell me what you think about about Pedro's mother, Miss Lydia. What's really going on? Was the letter really from her or was it from someone else? Because see, here's the kicker. This is the thing that I forgot. When Pedro wouldn't confront his mother about the letter, he went back and called his brothers, and they weren't able to identify who it was on the letter. So, thank you so much, Barbara Cronin, for the $4.99 super chat. Merry Christmas to the 2 and 4 leg members of your family. Thank you. They down there knocked out. But thank you so much. They can get a little squeak toy. Thank you so much, Melanated Moms, for the $20 super chat. Happy holidays, Auntie. Happy holidays to you too. Thank you. I love y'all so much. Love y'all so much. And before I close, there's a young lady that I have been emailing. Young lady, there's a couple of you all who I have not heard back from, but this woman in particular, Alberta Zuccala. Alberta, I am trying to get you this cotton freaking gift card mailed out to you, but I don't have your address and I've reached out to you several times. Please send me your address, okay, so that I can complete these gift cards, okay? Need to get that from you. So if you are Alberta, this is blank and I need to get it so I can send you out this blessing from the multiple Secret Santas. Okay? So thank you so much. But anyway, I love y'all. Y'all be blessed. And until next time, I'll talk to y'all real soon. Y'all please be safe out here in these cotton freaking scrapes. Love y'all.